Hello?
Hello.
Hello, learners?
Learners?
Learners, patrons, welcome.
Um,
Um,
students?
students.
Students?
And I'm gonna switch scenes, and I'm gonna make sure we're not muted on the other scene. Ready? Here we go. Oh, we're not muted. Look at us.
I had the brief thought to like pretend I was muted, but I think that would be mean. Just be like,
Like, no, no, it says you're not muted. No, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
hello.
Welcome to DrawClass. Karina critiques your art, and I'm also
Yeah,
here.
and Nathan will help.
I'll help.
And we're gonna try our damnedest to not go incredibly over time again.
We'll see.
It'd be so cool.
It'd be pretty cool, but we'll get
I
everyone
yeah.
their due
I did
time.
this I'm just doing this fun prank on myself where I was like incredibly like active socially over the weekend into like Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then instead of relaxing yesterday and like resting up per se, I stayed up really late streaming with Onsta and then had a
Fun.
doctor's appointment in the morning to wake up for.
Well, I hope
So
you know,
But tonight,
tonight.
tonight
Ooh,
though,
tonight you're gonna sleep.
ooh,
Gonna do some
the
sleeping.
eeps.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get some good crits. Got some good shit to look
Some
at.
good shits to crits.
Shits to crits. It's fucking crit, fam. Nathan said that,
I
not
said
me.
I said that and you wrote it down
Yeah,
so that
because I
everyone could
was
know.
I was delighted by it.
Yeah,
Do we
thanks everybody
have
for submitting.
odds?
Thanks for being here.
Announce my own stream. Is that how this works?
Oh, in the
Yeah.
well, I posted the link on Patreon yesterday. I remembered to do that the
Ooh,
day before.
killing it.
But if you want to put the link in Draw Class
Oh,
chat,
I
you
usually just do a stream announcement
oh,
if I can spell it correctly.
you just don't put the link
Yeah.
because okay, got it. I understand.
Unless I should do it the other way around.
However you want to do it. I don't know. Do we usually do it that way? I don't remember. I don't remember how anything works.
Draw class time. Yay.
Yay!
Thursday. Haha, draw class time. Yay. Okay, perfect. But yeah.
Remembering stuff is overrated anyway. I agree. Who needs
I
to
just
remember?
I just never would do the link in the draw class chat because I wasn't super sure that only tier members could see it.
Mm-hmm.
But then Jacob always does that. So I was like, but I'm
Right.
built different.
Yeah.
Parentheses, more scared. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead at any point if we should just get on into it.
Cool. Let's
Yeah.
let's do it. We've had time for people to get in here.
Ah,
I think
yeah.
I
Haha,
think
draw class time. Yay. But yeah, and also um I was very thankfully reminded that we did have some like leftovers from the previous
oh sure.
like God, this was an eternity ago in my brain.
2 months.
It was yeah, 2 months. I completely forgot. So there's some people who submitted after we like did the cutoff in May. So You're here now.
You're here.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
So that those people are like the first ones. Yay, yippee.
Wow!
Okay, just do
Woohoo!
it.
Let's do
Pick
it.
number one,
Number
Ribbon
one.
Road. Number one.
Ooh,
Um,
comic.
yeah, who says, my plan was to strategically post late because I had a thing. Then I got sick and canceled it, so now it's unstrategically late. Meanwhile, me, the latest. Anyway, I'm trying to work on how to make short comics more visually interesting, et cetera, et cetera. Also, they replaced their file at some point. So this is the updated one.
Cool.
So there are no colors. Um, Beach bubbles don't look that nice because I was trying to figure out where they would be. I don't know how to make panel borders that don't look incredibly out of place, either in terms of being too messy or too neat.
Mm.
Struggling a lot on the composition of the last panels. Backgrounds, I don't know her. My characters have been trapped in the void forever.
Fun.
And I'm gonna
Ken's friends.
But yeah. Um and I will say because yeah, the previous version had a bit like had the different line art and I I had to like pause and be like, "Oh, it's cleaned up and it's nice."
It is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, these characters look very charming.
Yeah. I like that they are kind of like going in and out of the paneling.
Yeah.
I always think that's super cute.
Got a bit of a tangent right at the top of that first one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that that is partially due to it not being like fully cleaned up, but
Gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, just right. There's my doodad. My anything. Yeah, right
Right
there.
there. And then also the top of that other
Yeah.
character.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when I think the main thing that I would kind of like assume at a glance is how much like thumbnailing do you do when you're laying out a comic?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're having trouble placing the speech bubbles, that's a problem that can easily be resolved by doing more drafting. Um, because like a speech bubble is a part of the comic, like it's a part of the composition of what you're visually making. So it's something that you should be considering as you're like considering the layout of the characters and the panels, etc., because you're going to have to stick it in there.
Right.
Like for just like hypothetically, just this is me just like doing a little draft. Oh God, I'm still figuring out where things go. So, this is your little character.
Yeah.
And then, I assume that the way I'm reading it, I didn't read the comic out loud. I hope that's okay for everyone watching. But I assume part of it is a little bit of like, um, this character is not like it is kind of just like, and this is so and so, and this is so and so. So it's a bit of like a show and tell. So
Yeah.
they're kind of leaving um the panels because like they're kind of presenting the panel to you, the
Yeah.
viewer.
I think that's very
So
effective.
yeah. And so like this is my friend Jackie. Um and so it can kind of just be like its own thing. But yeah, so if you're like want this character to kind of be showing off, then you should really be considering the layout of the speech bubbles as you're doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like also I can't read this. um so say like, this is my friend Jackie. We were inseparable in high school. You should consider like for even like this sort of minor text, just making sure it has like its own dedicated space because it's very crammed in there right now,
Mhm.
etc. But yeah, because I get the impression that you were kind of focusing on the character drawings and then the whatchamacallit, speech bubbles are a bit of like an afterthought.
Yeah.
So the easiest thing to do is just kind of like go in and do like some quick, just like, you know,
Yeah.
thumbnails.
Well, a little planning goes a long way.
Yeah. Just to kind of like, this is Delvin. He's a cashier. Because yeah, even just doing something as simple as this is going to help you just like lay it out so much cleaner once you do the final thing,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah.
Yeah, I
As
think
for yes.
it's just like it's that classic thing because I do this too. You probably seen me do this in Drawfee videos where we're making
Mhm.
comics. Is like you're focused on the characters because like in your mind like that's what you're excited to draw, and it's the same as like drawing legs almost. It's just as opposed to like the torso. It's like you naturally are going to or I think most people naturally are going to sort of focus on the parts that they're the most interested in doing. And so you should try like overcorrecting for that. Like give more space. Make the bubbles bigger than you think they're going to need to be, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because people need to read the words. If like the words are
Mhm.
important to the story, uh
Yeah,
give them more
because
space.
like I said, especially if it's like on a screen, if I zoom in, but even so, like this is really difficult to read.
Yeah.
All of this like small writing and even um hand lettering is kind of like a mixed bag because I love hand lettering. I feel like it makes things way more fun, but it does also just introduce the issue of having to have like really legible handwriting because you do have like very readable handwriting, but there are points where I'm just like it's a little like not super clean, like compared to this, which is like really easy to read, this is like a little bit like clearly a little bit more like smushed in, trying to fit it into the space rather than already having that space set aside for it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I was just going to say, in terms of the like paneling, I think that like you were saying, I don't know how to make the panel borders that don't look out of place. I think that's just kind of like a fuck around and find out for like what you prefer. Because I don't think this looks out of place. I could
Yeah.
tell when I zoomed in that you were also using the same brush, just with like straight lines. Holding the shift, I mean. And I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
If you think it's like overbearing, just like find a way to make it less noticeable. I
Yeah.
think my instinct, especially if you're like doing this small text and stuff, is to even make the border a little thinner,
Yeah. Yeah.
etc.
You're using the same
Because
brush, you still have that like toothiness to it. But yeah, you could just make the line
yeah,
a little thinner.
yeah. Depending on how you color it, you can also consider not having an outline and just
Oh,
doing
sure.
like blocks of color.
Yeah.
Because and as for your like, to just kind of wrap it into your last little point about backgrounds, something like this, like here's I'm not a background enjoyer. I like doing them, but especially when you're doing comics, like not every panel, in my opinion, disclaimer, I am not like a professional comic artist necessarily, but not every panel needs that much information. You need to be a little economic about it.
Yeah.
So, especially for something that's like a very like wordy and character driven like thing where you're just kind of showing the different characters like they're doing a little something something, but the focus is the character and information about them. Like it could be a simple background. If
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like this character is on like headphones, I think that's a laptop, etc. So like and this is Delvin, he's a cashier. If I should be like if it's important for me to know like, oh, are they like in a cafe or something to give a little bit more indication to that, but you know, so maybe there's like another table or something back here. I don't fucking know. And then cash register. Because yeah, I'm just like I'm not super sure what the setting is, but it's just little like
Yeah, you
indicators
can
like
give
that that
little
kind of
little
make a
hints.
difference without really crowding up the thing.
Yeah.
And then
One coffee cup on the
yeah,
counter or so,
and then like in this last one, it doesn't need a background at all because you've kind of already established that they're just kind of standing next to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think especially for something kind of like this is like a simple kind of four coma style thing. Like you don't need to worry that hard about backgrounds. You just need to continue to consider your drafting. I think a lot of your concerns would be uh addressed if you did a bit more drafting.
Do a little drafting.
Yeah. It's very important when you're doing comics that you bear in mind like all of these little things and are mindful of because the words are part of the picture.
Yeah.
That's the fun of comics.
Yep. Oh, we have a question in chat.
Mm.
Someone wants to know if it's too late to submit something for this critique.
Unless we speed through these, which I really doubt we will because we never fucking do, we're probably not going to get to it at this rate.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for asking.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we'll get them next time.
Yeah.
We'll be doing more of these.
There'll always be more.
Yeah.
But
Can
yeah.
I need to close a window. Everybody decided to start doing the loudest stuff
No.
outside.
I'm going to
So,
move to the
yeah,
next
you move to the
one.
next one. I'll be right back.
Hi. All right. Thank you, Ribbon Road. I hope that helps and feel free to continue posting any whips and stuff in the chat. But yes, always do thumbnailing. Next is CJ Schneider. Yes, I read it correctly. I can read. Who says, hopefully this isn't too late on May 30th. So the late one is me now. Joke's on you. Been trying to focus on colored line work lately as I generally like the look of it, so any tips on that would be appreciated as I feel I sometimes miss the mark for good line contrast compared to the filled colors, and especially when shading, which leads me to skip it or make it relatively light, leaving the shading to have little contrast. Also, general feedback would be appreciated. So cute. Yeah. I'm zooming in, it's because I'm trying to look if there's any examples of maybe what is concerning you. I'm guessing you mean stuff like this area. Layer, juice. Yeah, I'm guessing what you mean about the being unsure when, especially with shading, is stuff like this where, it's this kind of purplish color really close to, the shaded areas so that they kind of look really similar, if not like having the line art be a little bit lighter at that point, which I personally don't think is a big issue as long as you're kind of doing it with a little bit of intent, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's think about this. These are very delightful people,
Yeah, these are
by the
cute.
way. I don't know if this is a problem that will be solved by a by a value check, because I can just tell from looking at it that these are like incredibly similar. Like that's is my color wheel showing on the screen?
It is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like that, and then that. Those are the same color, just different. Those are the same color in different colors.
Yeah. Exact same value, just you
Yeah,
moved slightly from blue to purple.
exactly. But I don't think like for especially like in this specific case, that's not detracting in any way because like it's against a background that is not of similar color and um it's not distracting to me. I do understand what that is where it's just like oh, I want to do colored line art, but once you start actually putting colors within the line art, you kind of have to start adjusting the line art and it's like extra complicated.
Yeah.
Um
That's what I do, black line art, and then I do all my shading, and then after I've done all my shading, if I want to color the lines, I put a clipping mask over the
yeah,
lines and color pick based on the colors I
reconsider.
already have.
Yeah. Feel free to go off, Mr. Nathan, while I think about what they are asking.
Um, well, yeah,
The
well
line
that's
contrast compared to the fill colors.
yeah. I mean that's my recommendation is like add the color to the line art after you've finished putting in
Yeah,
all of the colors and shading you're gonna put in, and then that way, or you can add colored line art, do the colors and shading, and then go back in and adjust the line art
yeah,
at the end to make sure it still is doing what you want. Because like sometimes having the line, because I really like the colored line art on the like that brown color you have on the on like the arms and face. I think
yeah,
that works really nice.
yeah.
Um so
I try to do an example. Will that take a million billion years? Because colored line art is just like a stylistic thing.
yeah.
Like there's no real rules as to how to do or not do. And I think like my favorite way of doing it is one I kind of like picked up from like copying Promare.
Yeah. Yeah, when the line art is like lighter
Yeah,
than the yeah,
yeah.
that can
But
create a
that
really cool
one,
effect,
yeah,
but you have
because
to
I think part of it is that like because especially noticeable like here is that you're kind of what buttons am I pressing? You're kind of using like all the same colors for this, like for the whole piece. So like it's mostly brown. So even for the like cool colors like the shirt and the tail, you're still using a brown line art. Um and it's mostly just like if it's more interior, maybe you're kind of sticking it more to like the black where is like
yeah.
what the fuck does Leo look like? I don't
He
fucking
looks like
remember.
that. That's him.
Yeah, because with Promare, they all of it is like colored line art, but it is very um it is very like saturated, very bright, and very comprehensive. And it's because each part is like its own color.
Yeah.
It's so fast. And they just really know how to pick their colors. So it looks really nice. But it's because they put a lot of thought into what color everything is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little example. Just watch example happen.
Yeah, because it looks something like that. And then I have like this color palette memorized because it was just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
'cause
have
then
to
it's
use this
kind of
exact
like
color palette, but this is
just
just
a
an example.
yeah, this is just like the Promare one because I just really loved how it looked. And I feel like I even just like color picking and like duping the color palette, I feel like helped me kind of like learn a bit more about how like fun ways to use color
Yeah, I mean that's
and
just good advice in general. Is like
like
if you see a
what
piece with a color palette you like, just take that color palette and make your own piece with that color palette and just see how it works. Mess around with it.
for this.
You'll learn a lot just by doing that. Yeah.
So this is like what the like color palette was. Switch to this and because for like the skins, because there was a lot of like they put a lot of kind of like pink in the shadows, like so the line art was this kind of pretty mid-range kind of like um red
Yeah.
reddish like color, but the hair was like a blue and it was pretty light, something like this, I think. It's
Yeah. Looks
been a
right.
while since I've drawn my yowies, but yeah, so it's just like the way that they like it especially if you're just kind of like doing it yourself, like copying it. It's a bit more painstaking to do, but it looks really good. And
Yeah.
then you can kind of just get creative with like but yeah, all of the colors are just individually picked for like what area they are. Maybe we do like that. And be like a really bright color. Go back to like a red for the rest of the facial stuff. That's behind the hair. I'll just make it that same blue.
Yeah.
Just something like that.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of just experiment with what you think looks cool.
Absolutely.
But it does require a little bit more like fucking around. Cause yeah. Yeah, if there's like a lineless style that's like really like I like how they do it. Just just follow that. But I think kind of what I learned like trying to or not lineless, colored line art style. What I kind of learned generally is to like individually pick different areas to kind of give them that like poppy, like because if I use like the same color on the hair, it has a completely different feel about it
Yeah.
than what it was before. Whereas if you do it like piece by piece, there's something kind of like, ooh, how stylish.
Exactly. Yeah. And you
So,
can even go and like push into like if there's like a specific effect you're trying to create, sometimes having the line art be a lighter color than
yeah,
like for example the blade part of the berserker that he's hold, like if you
yeah.
made just the tip there like that same white as
It's
the
the tip.
as like that shine. I'm just curious how that would look.
That's not a white.
Like it might make
It's a
it, yeah,
white.
just sort of like, especially because you have that like black and white background, like it just might make it pop a little bit. I don't know, just
Yeah.
like you can mess around and see.
Yeah. Because there's like a dimensionality that you can achieve by fucking around with the line art and like, you know, if you make it like recede by making it really bright, then it looks like, depending on how you use that, like if you have like this against the like black background, then it's like a bright edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some stuff to consider.
Yeah, but these are really wonderful pieces. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be annoying. You know, I gotta do it to him.
Just gonna see. Just some value check.
I'm curious. Yeah, because I'm like at a glance, like this one I think is like such a fun, cute character. And I'm like with the background, it's a little middle range. But no, you got your bits covered.
Yeah, looks good.
I'm like, I'm also just like glance over here, but this is kind of what I mean, where it's like depending on how you know, push and pull the color work with the line art, you can kind of add this like funny little dimensionality, you know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you continue to try, I just say do it like, you know, pick your colors a bit more deliberately and then it'll start to really pop. But yeah, I hope that helps. I think we'll move on now.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for submitting.
Yeah. Well, hello, Ribbon. Yeah, you were the first one, so you'll have to rewind. Next is Haru, who I did one of my Patreon comms for, and this is another one that was late. Sorry. Um, I understand if I'm too late. Now I'm late, but I'd love critique. Maybe suggestions for drawing stylized portraits at more than a 3/4 angle or line art suggestions. I struggle with always thin line art, no weight depth because I don't know what areas need more weight. First of all, I remember this character from my Patreon commission doc, and I think she's so cute. I love her
Yeah,
a lot. Um,
so detailed.
yeah, and I think this is already such like a good like collection of like little character portraits, so it's gonna be one where I kind of struggle a little as usual. But I think you make really good use of like the thin line art. Like this is all really beautiful. All right, I need my little juice box.
Yeah, drink your juice.
But um
Should I order some juice?
only if
To
you
your
do it on
apartment?
accident
Yeah.
and don't tell me. Thank you. Um yeah, I think your line art's like really lovely.
Yeah.
If you're I'm like I also just like that you're messing with like the opacity to kind of like soften up the edges cuz that looks really really nice.
Yeah.
I'll switch to a more soft brush for this then. I don't know what this brush is. That's weird. What the fuck? Um, but I would say that if you are particularly like you know, talking about line art and weight is just basically like you can make the line art weightier to kind of add dimensionality, kind of
Right.
similar to the color stuff, where you want to indicate like shadow and depth.
Yep.
So my go-to is to just like thinner or thicker here and thin it up as you go up the jaw. Just kind of like that's not a very good example, but you kind of get what I mean.
Yeah,
'Cause-
basically anytime
yeah.
those T lines where like a line or like an intersection is formed where like by a form being in front of a different form, thickening the line art there adds just a little bit of depth.
Yeah.
Um,
Just anything you want to kind of like separate spatially is where you can add, like where you can change the weight of the line art. And I'm just like, you're already doing it.
yeah, like you've
The
got a
face,
really nice, yeah,
especially.
like that line you have for the bottom lip, like it has a really nice
Yeah.
uh change in weight just in that line. Like it goes from
Yeah.
thin to thick to thin.
I think you're kind of doing it already without really realizing it because of the brush tip that you've been
Yeah,
using.
so you could just, if you want, just like push that. Like it seems like your instincts are already like correct.
Yeah.
You could just you just push it further if you want, but you also
Yeah.
don't have like what you're doing is very effective.
Yeah.
But like see like where the hand comes in front of the arm, like any of those sort of like T lines that form, you just like thicken up the part that's in front to
Brush.
make it seem closer
But yeah,
if you want.
because I like recognize this character because like I saw art of her before because of like reference sheets, and I'm just like, no, you already have like such a good character. You
Yeah.
already clearly know how to like draw this character very well. Um, but if you want to like experiment more with like weight and depth, I think you're already doing it, but maybe you just can like do it with a bit more intention because again, as even a slight difference like that, it's just adding a little tiny bit more depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so much like little details, and also I guess specifically on this piece, I didn't mean to do that. Ignore that, undo. There's no shading, so it's not as it's a little more difficult to like express that depth, like easy way to express depth is to add shading. So if you were
Yeah.
to just like add some shading to this, that'll also like be doing that.
Like you have
And
shading on the hair, but that's it.
yeah, but in terms of just the line art, like I think if you just kind of continue what you're doing and just kind of push it a little bit, because I also really like one, doing sketchy line art personally, and two, like um doing flat colors just as like a, you know, I like doing flat illustrations. I think they like it's a fun stylistic choice. But yeah, if you want to add depth, then as much as just like adding a bit more like intentional weights to your line art, I guess is what you're going for.
Yeah. And then as
But this
far
is
as
so pretty, so I'm just like I feel
doing
bad touching it.
doing portraits at other than the 3/4 angle, that's just like you just got to practice drawing faces at other angles.
Yeah,
Just
but
do some life drawing of faces at extreme non 3/4 angles.
I'm still doing that
Yeah,
shit.
it's
That's
it's hard.
hard.
It's way easier to do a 3/4 angle.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
just
just
like
like, if I'm kind of like pussyfooting around being like, oh yeah, stylized portraits at 3/4 angle, it's because I'm not
yeah. That's
good
something that it's
at it.
like you just got to practice.
Yeah, you just
Um
do it as you need to.
yeah, you can start with just like life drawing and then, if you get comfortable with a different angle, then, try drawing your character at that angle.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
like,
would start with just drawing just like a person.
yeah,
Take a photo of your face at a different angle and just do a study of it.
yeah. But I already feel like you have a very like strong idea of this character. I feel kind of like nitpicky saying this because again, I'm not that great at like drawing a lot of face angles either, like any like character fucking consistency, but I'm like I can tell that there's a little bit of like um inconsistency in how you lay out the face angle to angle, but I'm like I think that's kind of a normal thing, and again, something I also do a lot, but I feel like I'm really drawn to this one specifically. Like this is such a pretty drawing.
Yeah, really nice hand.
Yeah, so I think you have a wonderful grasp on this character, especially since I've seen like other art of her. So yeah, just again, I think just keep working with like, you know, I'm like, especially I can just tell in the way you do the face that this is like a very like soft brush. Just keep doing that. Change up some of the, make conscious decisions about like where I keep coming back to this because I'm like, you can really see it in like the eyelashes where like
Yeah.
it feathers off,
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a nice
where
effect.
the eyelash would be really thin. So I'm like, take that mindset and really like use it for everything. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know from a fact because I've drawn this character for our Patreon commissions that it can be a little bit like you're not going to treat all of these pearls with the same love that you're treating, the face of the character. But if that's kind of what you're going for, of just like adding dimensionality to like hard, this fucking brush sucks. Even just like a circle.
Yeah. You can give certain parts more weight. No, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
like
get the idea.
I should have chose a different brush.
Yeah,
But yeah.
you like just makes it feel a little bit more uh got a little bit
Yeah,
more
because I
depth
can
to
tell
it.
by how you render the faces that you have like a bit of like a painterly sensibility at points. So I'm like, just like,
You could apply that to, yeah,
yeah, apply that to anything.
give those pearls a little more depth. Yeah,
Feel like that.
if you want.
Your titty. So
Oh yeah, and Fitz
yeah.
says you can also that's a good point. In addition to doing life drawing, you can also just look at how other artists stylize faces at different angles. See what you can learn from that as well.
Yeah. So this is fantastic. Sorry for the wait and keep it up. Feel free to, again, all of you, post more in the whatchamacallit chat.
Discord, Patreon, Discord,
Yeah.
DrawClass channel, chat.
Yes, because next is Ian. I'm sorry, I don't know. But they say, hello. Since the last critique, I've been working on these character portraits for some D&D characters,
Ooh.
specifically working on making successful backgrounds that don't feel rushed or like an afterthought, new for me. Overall, I'm happy with these pieces, but there's a few things I think could use some work, like the color choices. Something feels off about them to me, or facial expressions. Any other thoughts or critiques are appreciated. Thank you so much. These are fantastic.
Yeah. Very expressive.
Okay. The choices, facial expressions. Yeah, very good portraits of characters. You know what we gotta do if you're gonna ask me for general critique, especially about color choices. Ayo.
Value. Value.
Very sunny day, and I do have my window open, and that's not helping me right now. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is something. The fact that like some like successful backgrounds. The backgrounds are really good. And you've clearly put thought into separating the characters from the background, like they're
Yeah.
fine. Within the backgrounds themselves, there it is like very dark. Um, and I feel like with this one, I think part of it is that the background while being like very separate from the character is also very saturated.
Yeah.
So like, cause these panks, these hello,
Hello.
hello, like those pinks are very hot. Um, Purple, pink, magenta.
Yeah.
Those are basically warm colors. So those are really gonna draw attention.
Hmm.
Because they're hot. They're hot colors. very cool color palette. So I think with that one specifically, you've made an interesting kind of like thing where the background is receding because of the values. However, these highlights, because even though they're not that bright, like they are,
They're
you
very
know, in terms of
saturated.
in terms of like the value are pretty mid to low. They're very saturated. Um, which makes them very hot colors. You know, it's like a heat graph, where you're just like, ah. So I think maybe that could be something that you're kind of seeing. I wonder what this do, that dog do. Maybe even
Ooh.
just kind of like a, yeah, even if it's just kind of muting that background to just not have like the hot magentas in it will maybe help. Maybe because yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference. This is just a color layer, so all it's really doing is kind of shifting the like color
Yeah.
and saturation a tiny bit. So yeah, because when it's at full saturation like this, like that's a really hot magenta, where if you just kind of like mute it down, that makes a surprising difference. Okay. I figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause this is just like, is that? Uh, yeah, because I'm not changing the values here. It's just the color and saturation.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it is the same with and without. It's just that the saturation like makes that like fabric in the background so hot that it's like attention grabbing. Um, yeah. Ribbon, if you have questions, we can get back to it. I just don't want to be super overly long today. Also, if we don't get back to it at the end of the stream, you can also post them in the chat and I will look at it.
Nice.
Oh, I see. If you can't tell, I kind of skew just so saturated. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think like especially if you're trying to be mindful about like backgrounds and their character portraits, you'd be surprised that like um yeah, because it's just a matter of like, oh, if you're trying to, for um you know, the fun thing about color theory is that you can just kind of use it to like manipulate people. So
Right.
like if you want the background to be like a hot spot and grab the eye, then you make it really saturated and you like add these warm colors. But if you want the character to be the focus, then you should push the background to recede. And I think that you were already pushing the background to recede, just going by the value work.
Right.
So that's yeah. If I read it wrong, that's my fault. But yeah. And I think this one's really successful.
Yeah.
Like that was just my immediate thought of just like, oh yeah, it's mostly just like this one specifically, especially because it's so you're really in the wheelhouse of like purple into indigo with like a little bit of I can't remember colors, browns and reds. So
Reds. Browns.
yeah, it's very it doesn't have a wide range of color. The one on the right as well. So I think with this one it's just a matter of like, oh, remembering how to use said colors so that, you know, your eye goes to the main character rather than the background. Whereas I think this one is pretty successful and straightforward.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah. I like the sort of
Yeah.
color coding you have where you got your purple
That's
boy and your green
yeah.
boy.
Sorry,
It's
I'm
like
just I'm just fuckling around because I'm
not
like,
not knowing anything else about the characters. It's like the one on the left that to me reads as like more arcane focused character. The one on the right reads as more like nature druid type. And I think it's really cool the way you've got this color theming, and then you use
yeah,
the sort of browns and blues as like a little accent in both of them.
yeah,
Um, it
because
feels very very competent
yeah.
to me.
Sorry, the thing I was just kind of fuckling around with was in a very similar way. I'm like, this is kind of like a splash of warm light up here. So I was just like, I wonder, I wonder if maybe that's also what's throwing you. Um, but the character is largely like, again, cool colors. So I'm like, maybe it doesn't matter. But I think the one on the right is like successful, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to like take those two little, because I really like the way they look, those like two streaks of light, and just like have
Mm-hmm.
that sort of reflected on the character as if like the
Yeah,
light's like hitting them
that
like
is
with
true.
those two, like you could, but again it's like that's just extra, extra preference, but it's
Yeah.
like, you could. Yeah, yeah, like, like he's being hit by
Yeah.
that light.
Because it would
But
definitely add like a nice depth to have like the lighting being effective. So yeah,
yeah,
that's a
because
good one.
you already thought to put that light in there, you may as well
Yeah.
use that to highlight your character if you want.
Yeah. And it will add a nice contrast. Like the again, you already put a lot of thought into like having the character stand out from the background. So it'll add an even like extra
Yeah,
bit. Hell yeah. But yeah,
you're
they're great.
yeah, this is really nice. And yeah,
Right.
in terms of facial expressions, I like they feel very expressive to me. Like I'm getting like sort of bookish, maybe a little nervous vibes from the one on the left, and much more sort of like aloof, carefree, sort of
Yeah.
from the one on the right. Just like in terms of their facial expression, really matches their body language, matches like the overall vibe. Like they're both very vibey.
Yeah. They're very good portraits. I
Yeah.
hope this gave a little extra
Oh, I'm
insight to
blurry
stuff.
now. Why am I blurry?
Nathan, did I get like bonked in the head and now I can't focus?
I'm just blurry for some reason. Hold on. Let me
Yeah,
just
you're in
turn
a
let me
dream.
just turn my camera off and on again. See if that
But yeah, so I hope that helps. Let us know. Eventually. All right, next.
just gonna be blurry.
Yeah, well,
What if
Nathan
I
does that.
just
Next.
change the focus? Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm not blurry.
Hella.
I'm not blurry anymore.
Next is Bards Only. I am finally doing the scary thing and practicing making comics in hopes of telling longer stories through them.
Hell
The two
yeah.
things I am most concerned with working with is working the text into the composition. I find I misjudge the room I need frequently. Ho 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 ho!
Oh, similar.
Wow, similar
Okay.
advice of hey, y'all do drafting, y'all do little like funny thumbnails and shit. It feels like an obvious answer, but I'm also just like, you'd be surprised. It's even just like, this page.
Yeah.
Eh, eh, eh. This. And stabilization on? What the hell? Why is it at 100? But yeah, it's literally just as simple as like those. Very even page. One big one at the bottom. Then I have yeah, so you just block it in and then you can kind of expand upon it and do like okay. pretty across the board. This is just a like 4. Gotta make sure you got the like locked in. Yeah, just always thumbnail. Because I can kind of tell by looking that you're not thinking very hard about your um speech bubbles. I think you're, because you said that you're kind of just now starting to like, explore comics and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like you're being way too focused on the illustration. Um, like this one especially, because I'm pretty sure I just pasted this as like it was, but like there is so much empty room,
Yeah, you can make the bubbles way
and
bigger.
yeah, these are so small, and I'm curious how you ended up at that point. Because again, when it comes to comics, like the text is a part of it. Um, And also, Ribbon says, I guess since we're talking about speech bubble comp, my question was how to figure out how much economy speech bubbles use without overtaking the images. Well, they need to be quite legible.
Yeah.
I'm not like a, I have no formal like education. I never formally learned how to do comics. I just kind of made up my own system. But yeah, because I'm like, I feel like you planned this entire illustration out and then just put the bubbles in where you felt. But I would, you know,
Yeah.
it'd be at least this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, like you're losing some of that stuff that you like the background you drew, but that's why you plotted out ahead of time.
Yeah.
'Cause then you'd like know. And another thing I think just in general, just at a glance, is that your posing is very just like, or like the composition of each panel, the characters are pretty just like they're standing there. Um, we're just POV, it's them, we're standing off to the side of them. We have this kind of like POV shot of the phone and then standing to the side, kind of just straight on, standing to the side. So, if hitting my fucking mic.
Okay.
Do you hear that
No.
anytime I just like bonk
No,
it?
Zoom
Okay.
is that's I've got filters on my end for your audio, but also Zoom is doing I don't hear anything. So
Yeah.
it's all good. Don't worry about it. You're doing
But
great.
yeah, because I just this panel especially, I'm just like, if it were a bit more rotated so that they're just
But yeah, I think, to answer Ribbon's question, it's like you look at the thumbnail them in and then just think about the size that you expect people to be reading the panel at, and however, like, whatever the minimum size you need the words to be in order for them to be easily readable, I'd say
yeah.
take that and then like increase it by 1 or 2 points. Just like whatever the minimum is for it to be readable without like having to, you know, and then just go up from there. And
Yeah.
then also consider just like the amount of space around the words. Like it's just there's something about giving the bubble more space. Like you typically don't want the words to be like bumping up against the sides of the word bubble. It's nice to
Yeah.
make them feel like they've got, like, that's like a huge difference between what I would say, like making a comic feel like more amateur versus more professional is just like having the words inside the bubble feel like there's enough space for them uh to exist comfortably.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Like
Yep. Yep. That's a
that
great.
that's why lettering is just like its own little thing you need to like figure out, cuz even if you're hand lettering, you still need to be really mindful that it's all very legible
Yeah.
cuz
It's half the it's
yeah.
half the story. It's like
Yeah.
you want people to feel like they can read it without having to
Yeah, cuz aside from the
strain.
size, like the lack of layout, it makes it kind of difficult
Yeah.
to even just like read. Like the speech bubble is kind of just running into this cup in a really uneven way. And I mean, that's like why a lot of professional comics aren't hand lettered, because one, is way more work,
Yeah.
and two, if you're not like really measured about it still, like it'll be really difficult to read. So if you do hand letter, it's important to kind of bear in mind that you're still like you still need to make it like really like you're laying out text.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
yeah. And this was just my little mock-up of like this is what I mean when you can like just draft different things, cuz I'm like, if this is the purple-haired character and she's kind of further in the foreground, and then this character is kind of like there, and then this cashier's like in the background more, then it also just kind of gives everyone more space. And then you can, if it's so important to show like the background where they're in a cafe, like you can draft that out around the speech bubbles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say how I personally do it as someone who loves hand lettering, um, is just what is the line? So basically everything, or no, that one, I don't feel like doing that. Let's do a quick question. So I would do hey, and then line break, quick, line break, question, because it's just going to be easier that way. So just doing mixed caps and lowercase, just as you did. And it would be a taller bubble to kind of like do that. And then what I would actually do is this. So this is my rough. Text. This is where we need that fucking stabilization.
Yeah, yeah, those guidelines. Ooh. Yeah, so you yeah, rough it in, add the guidelines and then do it clean.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It doesn't need to be like very precisely measured, but even just having like that like kind of vague
Yeah.
guide.
It makes a big difference. It's like a little bit of time and planning really really makes a big difference in this instance.
And just to kind of finagle with it, because you're got a bit of like a little guy. the shape. They are at it.
Yeah.
Very good bubble, but you get the idea.
I like it.
Not the best. It's not the best.
Well, it's just an example.
Yeah, but that's just a good way of like getting it kind of a little cleaner.
Yeah.
Even if you don't measure it the same way that one would measure like no object to transform a font, like it's still cleaner than just like free ball in it. I'm gonna put this a little bit in the center of the guy. Color. Honestly, with like hay being its own little guy, it could also like
Have two bubbles.
yeah.
Yeah. It's another option as well. It's like the hay is coming in to like get their attention. Yeah. Hay is like, hey,
Bad job, but
good question.
you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are lots of different ways you can, because yeah, like you can use the bubbles to really help indicate how the reader is meant to
Yeah.
hear the words in their head. You can, and like the more help you give the reader, the more engaged they will be in what's happening.
But yeah, because I think even just like setting down lines to follow will help you a lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's a little too difficult to read as it is.
Yeah. And it's very fixable.
But yeah, just be sure. Be sure. Also, this is also just a while I'm thinking of it nitpick.
Yeah.
Um for this especially since it's like a different like a screen within the story, like this could be like a font or even a slightly different handwriting if you want to really like
Oh, sure.
commit to like hand lettering everything because
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
And then, you know,
writing hard.
and yeah,
But
you already mentioned the sort of like composition of like the panels all being very similar. Like I think that
mhm.
like the one like the one after the phone screen, you could for sure make that like a close up because like you've got a
Yeah.
lot of detailing on the face. Like he's having a negative reaction, like he's sweating. You can see. I think like if you punch in on that there and then go back to the wide of him leaving. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an idea. Just to like
Yeah.
break up how it's all like that same wide shot.
Yeah. I think alternatively, because I was kind of like also reading it as like a beat and then same shot, just different action,
Mm-hmm.
following actions. So then maybe this
Maybe
one
that
could
one's
be the
different.
one
Oh, sure. Yeah.
where it's like, yeah, like an over the shoulder or something. But yeah, that's the fun of drafting.
Yeah. A lot of
So
different ways you could do it.
yeah, there's a lot of ways to dress this up. It'll be fun.
Yeah. But it's awesome
Yeah.
that I mean you're clearly what you said like you've just started
Yeah.
trying to do this more, so like yeah. Like this is awesome
Yeah,
already.
this rules.
Like you've got such interesting characters and
Yeah.
like I
And this is like such a good background. I'm truly just like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to start covering up some of
yeah.
it. Be
Unfortunately,
brave.
yeah, but and the nice thing about if you do a little thumbnail first, you can save yourself the time. So you don't
Yeah.
have to you can cover up stuff you don't want to
Exactly.
draw also.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
life easier for yourself.
But
But yeah,
yeah.
I am interested in
Everyone thumbnail.
this bird boy,
Yeah. All right.
bird friend.
We must move.
Yeah.
Oh God. Hello, Yina.
Animals.
Hi. Most of what I've worked on since the last crit art class is either for art fight left or relatively simple, right? So I'll throw a few of those your way. Of late, I've been trying to work more on interesting compositions and getting rid of my character standing in place syndrome, but as you can see, that is a work in progress. Yes, shout outs to Karina for helping me realize with the extremely close looking sky in the last crit that my monitor I work on has really wonky blues. I
Oh,
like these.
was that
The one on the ship.
the wolf boat wolf?
Boat wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, these rule. I like the rabbit a lot. And you're in
Yeah.
chat. I did
Hello.
continue working on my dog and did some experimental shading practice, and I can post it in the chat if you'd rather look at a more updated piece. I mean, that's kind of up to you. Um, but yes, working on interesting composition and getting rid of my character standing in place syndrome. Yeah, I feel like out of the two of these, the rabbit one is like the stronger
For sure.
because
Just like that up angle.
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong if you're drawing characters to just have them standing in place. Like, what else are they gonna be doing all the time?
Yeah.
But I do think that in terms of just like there's this like motion to the upward angle and even the framing in the background, like is an intentional enough shape that you're like, oh, it really creates a atmosphere
Yeah.
where I do think the dog one is very, very cute and a very nice
I
drawing.
love the
But
colors, yeah.
yeah, the colors of like just like, the fur and the clothes are like go together really well.
Yeah.
I do think the background is feels very unintentional. It's just kind of like I didn't know what to do, so I just put a hatching brush.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the combination of kind of like a pencily dark hatching on like a tan background doesn't really benefit the character in any way. Like it doesn't really like add anything, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I nixed the background. Yippee! Uh I'll update that for you. It's the updated version. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah, it's just way
I'm like
cleaner.
I totally get it. Me when I have like literally anything, I'm like, fuck it, the background. I don't know, hatching, halftone, anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, I do like the shading that you're
Yeah.
doing on it. It's nice,
That's nice.
like kind of cell painterly hybrid.
Yeah.
Um, I think this looks fantastic. Um, as someone who's also not that like big on backgrounds, I do feel like the drop shadow doesn't feel completely like attached, grounded, but maybe that's just because he's standing in like a void. I don't
Yeah.
fucking know. I am not smart enough to fully help you there, but I love this little character. But yeah, I do still feel like the rabbit is like the use of like the angle on the head, the facial expression, the body language, it kind of gives like a really strong like idea of the character.
Yeah.
The dog too, like very relaxed posture and more relaxed clothing. These are both fantastic. You got Nathan. Help.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like if you want to have him just sort of standing in the void, I do think that yeah, the shadow at the bottom maybe takes away from that. Like I'd be like you could add a horizon line maybe, and that would help figure out like where the shadow should be.
Yeah.
But I also think you could just remove it and just
Yeah.
keep him on that, like, because it's just sort of like a character model sort of vibe,
Yeah.
and like you doesn't really need anything else.
It is always the struggle of just like I want to draw just like what my character looks like, just a little outfit and stuff. but then they're just standing there.
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
It
that's a
is, I never
first.
know what to do either.
Yeah.
But, if that's all you want to do, then you don't have to like
Yeah, it seems
do
like
anything.
you're interested in doing more dynamic poses, which is just this, like,
Yeah.
it's the sort of thing where it's like, good news. We've done multiple draw classes. Karina's done multiple draw classes on dynamic poses and anatomy, and so it's like it's a two-step process, right? It's like you need to practice that and just get the fundamentals of that down, of like being able to just pose
Yeah.
anything, like be able to pose do poses beyond just standing confidently, and then you have this really nice character design sensibility.
Hmm.
And so you draw your character standing there, and then you go to your dynamic poses and see, like, okay, can I translate this character into that pose,
Yeah.
and just try it.
Yeah. In
Like,
terms
that's
of posing, the
it's
best you can do is just like studies and then apply it to the studies.
because if I remember correctly, you've only been doing this for like a year.
Yeah.
So it's like very, like, you're very good at character design, and you understand anatomy well enough to be able to have these very convincing standing poses. So, like, yeah, the next step is just practice other poses. Um
Exactly.
you're not going to get better at it unless you practice it. So,
Yeah.
um
I do notice pocket
yeah,
hand.
pocket. Yeah, it's like hands. I
Yeah.
get it.
That
Drawing
easy.
hands is its own thing that you need to practice
Fucking
doing.
hard.
So,
Fucking hard.
yeah, it's just like, set aside some time. Definitely keep doing this if this is the sort of stuff you like doing, but
Yeah.
set aside some time to push yourself outside your comfort zone and just do studies, do anatomy studies of other poses, and like like Fitz said, look at other artists that are making stuff that you want to try and make, how they do different poses, how they pose their characters and stuff, and do a combination of studies from life and from other artists that you like, and then try and apply those to your characters and see what you come up with. I'm excited to see
Thanks.
your journey continue. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because yeah, I love your little character designs, but yeah. All you can really do is kind of be like, okay, well, here's the next thing I want to do. And then learn it and then apply it
Yeah. It's the
onto the
sort of
stuff.
thing, yeah, like it's the sort of thing where it's like you've been doing this for a year, you've gotten very competent at these things, and what the trap you can fall into is just like, this is what I like to do, this feels good to do, um I'm just going to keep doing this. And it's like you have enough awareness in like what you're asking is like, what you want to do is move beyond that. And yeah, just like, don't be afraid of the discomfort that comes from trying something and having it not feel as easy or as good as what you're doing here with these poses, and just like try and push past that and keep practicing.
I tend to think about I tend to think about less as making it look exactly like what it is and more about trying to translate what I'm seeing into something that reads as what it's supposed to be. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's drawing.
that's learning your style, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
But part especially if you are actively trying to like learn more about art and about drawing and about your own art, you still have to learn your fundamentals.
Yeah,
Because, if you want to draw furries, if you want to draw anime, you still have to learn some realism.
yeah. I mean, we've got
Um,
I
it'll make you more powerful. So if you learn how to draw a like real human hand, then imagine how easy it will be to give it paw pads and fur, you know?
exactly.
It'll
Just
make it so much
gonna
simpler. But yeah, it's all that nitty gritty stupid shit that you have to do to art.
But yeah, if you go into our DrawClass Patreon stream VODs playlist, we've got a whole bunch of Karina teaches anatomy. We've got let's see, some of the Karina practices drawing, dynamic anatomy is only from this past December. That's a really good one you could check out.
We'll do more guided life drawing in the future.
Yeah, there's no shortage of resources, but if you want to stick with Drawfee, just find some of Karina's dynamic anatomy classes. I think will definitely help get you at least started drawing some poses beyond the just standing there ones, which you're very good at. Like
Yeah.
these are love, like it's a very
But
convincing
yeah,
casual
it's
stand.
just general like advice for like, oh, I got into art because I like this style,
Right.
etc. And it's like, wonderful, that's great. You know what'll make you better at drawing any style is just learning more.
Yep. Yeah.
Because like I technically have 8 years of formal art education technically because my high school was art focused.
Yeah.
And I was only drawing anime, like real, like 2006 DeviantArt ass anime drawings. And when I went into high school, it's not that they were like anti-anime style as many teachers were at the time,
Right.
but it was more of just, we don't want you to pigeonhole yourself into only doing one thing, so you're not allowed to do like really stylized shit for your classes.
Right.
So I kind of took a break. I was still drawing whatever the fuck I wanted on the side, but for school I was like trying really hard to learn semi-realism and like try other new things. And it did ultimately start trickling down into my anime style and changing it
Yeah.
and improving it and really setting it into what it started to grow as I became an adult. So it was like a really formative time for me. You'd be surprised how that will ultimately reflect in your art to just learn more things, and it'll make it so, so good. That's just general advice. That's
Yeah.
not directed strictly at Una. That's just generally something to consider for a lot of people who are like, I got into art because I like My Hero Academia. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a really good like style to kind of draw from. But
Absolutely.
once you start trying, just like, I think especially if you're trying to learn kind of a lot more from real life, you're finding yourself as well.
Right.
But yeah, that's just general advice. I think
Yeah.
we'll have to move on now, but I
Yeah.
hope to continue to see your art journey.
Yeah, it's really cool to be like
Yeah.
this early on into it. So I hope you keep doing stuff and sharing it. It's great.
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to learn and study. I think I'm just bad at turning that into an actual drawing, which I'm sure will come with time and practice. Not everything has to be an actual drawing. Some of
Yeah.
it's just study.
Yeah, it's input versus output.
Yeah, I have like 20 pounds of just bullshit just stuck at my parents' house. So it's like all studies and other like learning material that it's just there forever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's very curated what you see people put online and present.
Yeah.
So yeah, but thank you so much for presenting your work.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. But yeah, next is MR. Mr. Mer. Ah. Hello, DrawClass. I've been doing a series of illustrations of my World of Warcraft OCs, and this is the first piece I've done in clip. I feel like I still struggle with color and getting a unified palette without muddying up the works. I'd also take composition advice if you have it, because those green cutouts on the side are arbitrary. First of all, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think
Hello.
I think
Where's my
for arbitrary, there a lot about this works really well.
yeah.
So
Okay, well, let's do the usual.
yeah,
Whoop.
and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's great. Um, I assume that the green cutouts on the side, which I'm sorry, so much of it is green. Is it these? The ones behind the vines, we think? In the
Uh,
background? In the background. So these like
yeah,
you
yes.
know I don't know fucking shit trapezoids. These. Okay. Um do I look like I know what a trapezoid is?
Just want a goddamn hot dog.
I I do I do agree that they're a little arbitrary. I feel like because it's a very like natural like Nathan, you know about thingies and doodads. Is this like kind of druidy?
Yeah,
Like it's all
this
nature.
is
It's
a
all nature. So there doesn't need to be like
it's looking like
real
a
geometric.
night elf druid or
Yeah.
priest,
Because
depending
I'm
on.
like unless you're like very very specifically trying to like conjure up like an art nouveau kind of aesthetic, but I feel like in that case it's a little I don't know that much about art nouveau. What the fuck am I talking about? But I feel like
More
because
like art
there's
didn't know
art, I
vo.
don't know.
Art I don't know vo.
Yeah, because this one like the shapes in the background are very like, how you say symmetrical
Mhm.
and whereas this thingy and then also the vines are very natural and they're just kind of going whichever what way.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I mean take composition advice. Those green cutouts on the side are arbitrary. Yeah, my main thing is that at least on this side, since it's very visible, it's kind of just muddying up where the vines are, and I like the vines better.
Yeah.
um, so I because I assume you did that a little bit to just balance out like this big fella in the back.
Yeah, because it's the same sort of color.
Yeah, but
Like
I
you,
don't know.
like you could even just have like if you took out the one on the right, and then if you just wanted to have something else like that same color in the bottom left behind the vines, you could even just have like a similar sort of um like that similar sort of like bulb shape coming in and just like
Yeah,
have it be in the distance sort of coming in like just at the I don't know.
yeah,
It's like but also you might not even need that. Like you
yeah.
just
I
the
think
like
I think part
just
of
the
it
vines are
is
really
yeah. The
nice.
reason I said Art Nouveau is because I'm like that's the kind of like shapy stuff they would always kind of feature as like framing in like the classic.
Right.
What was the guy's name? I was never required to take, that those 8 years of formal art
Yeah.
education. They did not teach me art history.
I took a
But
design history course, so I remember
yeah,
Art Nouveau, but I don't know
the
any.
guy, the guy, the
You know
guy,
the guy,
the guy.
the Art Nouveau guy. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
Google it.
because Alphonse Mucha. Yes, that one. Um, yeah, it was something with an M, but
Yeah, it's that like combination of like organic shapes with like
yeah.
geometric. Yeah.
Because I assumed that because I felt like this big one in the background was kind of like combined with those shapes was kind of trying to achieve the same thing as the framing in
Yeah.
Mucha's painting. Um, but I don't know if it managed to succeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I'm like, I wonder. Oh, yeah, I'm like, sorry, I'm like trying to brainstorm, like, what would be a good way to kind of if you're trying to balance, because I'm like, I think I like the vines.
Yeah, the vines are nice.
Yeah.
Really good shapes.
I
And
wonder if
nice
maybe
shading
even
on them
like,
as well.
yeah, I wonder if maybe even like the flowers could work more into it, because
Oh,
I like those
sure.
flowers up there.
Yeah, and they sort of match the color of the border
Yeah.
and break that
You can,
shape a little.
yeah. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
But yeah.
mess
I
around
think
with it.
I think you have a perfectly good eye for composition.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do just want to put arbitrary like framing into it to kind of tie it together. But I do feel like these shapes, mostly because I like these vines, and these shapes kind of like muddy up where the vines sit.
Yeah.
I guess I also muddied up where the vines sit, but yeah, I'm like, maybe if you like worked more flowers in, that would be like a fun way to like add. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I also don't know what any of these like nature symbols maybe mean to the character. Anyway, um, as for a unified palette, I think you have a really good like color palette going on here. I If I had to be oh so nitpicky, if I had to be a real fucking annoying Frank, um,
Annoying Andy.
would yeah, if I wanted to be a real annoying Andy, a real fucker Frank,
Can make that.
would warming up this back guy change anything,
Ooh.
Karina?
Make it closer to the color of the vines and the hair and
Yeah.
all that
I don't
stuff.
know if I like that. I don't know if that's like achieving anything like significant, but that was my main thing of just like,
Sometimes you just gotta try it and see.
I guess I also don't know what this thing in the background is, so what do I know? But because like there's these the on the character there it's I think the character is like really perfectly balanced color wise. Like the purple skin with kind of like the warm greens looks so good. And
Yeah.
then the like really earthy browns also just mixed in. Whereas the background is this very like teal green.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I think I just personally like yellow green more than blue green. And I'm making it everyone's fucking problem.
Personal preference, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't know if this like achieves anything, but this is just me. This is just me being like, that could be something. I don't know if it's anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think you got the colors. I think you got the colors really good. Yeah. I guess it just depends on your intent. No, I think the blue kind of works in terms of
Yeah,
just
because it,
separating the
yeah,
background.
it's
That
a
nice
nice
atmospheric.
transition between the foreground green and the background blue.
Yeah.
That nice
That
blue
was just
green.
me trying something.
Sometimes you try
Ignore.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the colors are fantastic.
And the backlighting, the rim lighting's really nice and
Yeah.
effective.
It can just be very difficult to balance out like a lot of background elements, especially these really naturalistic ones where there's not really any real structure to it. They're just
Mm-hmm.
natural. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can, yeah, if you're ever just like feeling like you're overthinking the colors, just put them in raw and then just like put some like gradient map or like an overlay layer to unify everything, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think these look really good. Yeah. Yeah, if you're ever super not sure, you can just do what I did and just like slap a color layer on to kind of fuck around with things and be like, actually, that doesn't look any better. Let's get rid of it. But yeah, this is really great. And I do think this is such a lovely portrait of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We should
Thanks for
smooth.
sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Moving. It's the usual suspect. Xandrubert.
Oh, Xandrubert, what did you do? Did you draw some whimsical Pokemon?
Marker. Typical.
Wow.
For this critique, I've got 2 marker pieces of Pokemon Yampers and Joltik. The green all feels the same color. Um, no. Eto.
These are
Look, these are
lovely.
marker pieces. The thing about marker pieces is that, yeah, only so many markers exist.
True.
No, I think you always have such a wonderful like way of like, especially knowing like, yeah, there's only so many ways that you can like combine colors. Like you have such a very good way of rendering nature.
Yeah.
Um, I I do kind of feel like the Joltik one on the left. I feel like in terms of like the leaf, like the foliage, reads better. It feels stronger because maybe it's just because it's like a close up of the leaves, but
Yeah.
the way you render these leaves is so good.
Yeah, you've got this beautiful transition of like almost like orange to green on that one on the bottom, which is like
Yeah.
it's it's really lovely.
Yeah, I'm also very
Like the blues and the ones on top. Yeah, it's like
yeah, and
you've got
infatuated with the like it's so bright over there that it's
what
hitting the
you're
leaves.
the blending you're able to achieve with these
Yeah.
markers is really something.
Really
As
something.
someone who works entirely digitally, I don't even know the techniques you're employing. I feel like
I
very out of my
vaguely
depth. Right,
know,
yeah.
and it's very good shit.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like with this one, like I don't have anything to say about it. Like you know what you're doing when it comes to using your tools, and I think because it's like very like it's a close up and you know what these leaves look like. So it feels very clean.
You've
Like
got so much texture.
yeah,
It's
the
just
texture is
like
so good
just
and the lighting is really good.
just want to chomp one of those leaves, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
oh to be a bug chomping leaves.
oh to be a bug. Period.
And-
Um
yeah, this
Zappy,
one
shut up. One of these days we're going to do a critique that is not incredibly over time, but there's just a lot to say.
it's just it's really great whenever anyone submits and is
Yeah.
willing to share their art, and we want to give them all a good amount of time, you
Yeah.
know?
It's only
It's
fair.
only
So we'll
fair.
just go until we
We'll go
finish.
till we go.
But
I don't have anything else planned today. Do you?
uh no.
Trick question.
No. I was just gonna check out the Chikawa Casetify drop tonight, which I'm gonna do on
You-
my phone in bed.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess this is the like the
It's like more ambitious. So
yeah,
there's
like
more.
I say that like this I feel is very this okay, I'm just switching around to any brush now.
Yeah.
This I feel is successful, and I say that specifically because I feel like this is less confident, but
Mm,
it's hard to depict a lot of leaves because they're just fucking there.
yeah.
They're so small. So I'm not sure maybe that's more of what you're talking about because I do feel like this is just generally like more ambitious, harder to show in this nearly the same amount of like detail and proficiency.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. I think like the note I'd give is like as like you sort of do this with the subject matter. Like the yampers get less detailed as they recede into the background, whereas the background itself sort of feels like it's the same level of detail in the close up and further away. And it's like
You know what's fucking crazy? It looks amazing further away. I feel like I'm doing it a disjustice looking at it closer.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like, but yeah, I think like you like the note I'd give is like do more sort of detail work on the leaves that are closer, and then have there be some sort of transition that occurs
Yeah.
in the level of detail between the stuff that's closer and the stuff that's further away. Because again,
Yeah.
it's like it's lovely, it's beautiful, like the colors are really nice, but it is like it just looks like one solid mass of foliage. And I don't know if you're like trying to go for like more of like a foreground background type.
Yeah. Because I think with this one, like, there's no foreground.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh, literally, like me doing this, like, if I stand at a distance, like, it looks so good. I'm just like,
Yeah.
wait, it's actually incredibly successful. It's just that I guess because there's like nothing really that's like with this piece, like it's the opposite. It's all kind of just right there. Like
Right.
it is the ground. That's the foreground. Um, the background's basically just kind of like this wall and then like white light. But this is all like mid ground and then like a distant background. And I'm just like, I think with this one, like the addition of like a foreground where it was just like,
Yeah, just
anything at all.
a few leaves in the
Yeah.
foreground and one yamper just right up on the camera going like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would not only add like extra depth to everything, but it would also like this is so good.
Yeah.
So it'll just add more bits that are so
Yeah,
good.
we just yeah, we know you're able to do that. You've given yeah, like I wonder what if you just like selected one of those leaves and moved it over and put it in the foreground of this other piece.
Yeah. Me? Yeah.
I don't know. It just you don't have to. Just
Let me see if I can. It'll be real quick and dirty, but
just like what if imagine a world. Just curious. Just indulge my curiosity.
oh, anything for you,
Thank
Nathan.
you. Thank you. Bye. Like, you know?
Hear me out. Hear me out. Great. Wanted a guy.
Yeah. Something like that. You know? Just give it a little bit of depth.
Yeah. I don't know. The
Yeah.
real hack job.
But
Not
yeah,
to
you get
fuck up your
you
art.
get it. You get it though. Just like a little bit of something like that.
Yeah.
But it's also just like it's also really good as it is, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
I
I assume when people submit stuff for critique, they're looking for like some advice in
some
rather
fuckery
rather
from
than just
these
being like
two.
you did it perfect,
Yeah,
no notes,
wow.
but like,
Yeah.
you know,
I
so
also just
just something to consider.
I'm just gonna rattle this idea off because like we've met you, Andrew Burt, and we all have a piece from you as
Yeah.
a gift. I assume you work on the smaller side. I'm just like, just doing the thing where I'm like, ooh, like, how big have you ever worked? Because
Yeah,
like
that's a good
this sort
question.
of like impressionistic like rendering of the leaves, like it looks. I was just like looking at it up close. It kind of like it's like looking at like a pointillism painting too close. I'm like, ugh, fucking
Yeah,
Ferris Bueller ass moment. But I stepped back and you see it and you're like, oh
yeah.
yeah, because I'm just like,
Yeah, you get that hanging up on the wall, and you're over here.
yeah,
And it's like it's great.
yeah.
Just some doggos on the stairs.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'd bet you'd absolutely fucking kill it if you did like something in between these two, because you do these beautiful environments and these little cute guys in them, and
Yeah,
a big piece would be very interesting. That's all.
just
I don't know if that's constructive in any way. It's just what I'm thinking.
it's just that's just for us. That's just
Yeah,
like
I'm just saying shit.
I just wanna see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a move on, but thank
Thank you,
you.
Xandru Bird. Always a pleasure to see what you're working on.
Yeah, usually very small pieces. Yeah, because the one I have from you is like postcard size. I know it's harder to do large pieces with markers just because of the constraints of the materials, but imagine though, imagine.
Imagine. Can you believe to imagine?
Yeah. All right. Alan, not to be too much of a freak, but something I weirdly struggle with is drawing sweat on people.
Hmm.
I never feel it looks convincing enough. Somehow it always comes out too big, too. It's kind of strange drawing water on people, you know?
Yeah.
Would you happen to have tips? Um, this is not me laughing at you, Alan.
Has Karina
Yeah,
ever drawn sweat really good?
I?
Yeah.
Have I? I think the thing about sweat is that yeah, it's not big.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is not big.
It's not that big.
Um, let's wipe this guy up for
Towel off, friend.
yeah, towel off. Yeah, cool down, buddy.
'Cause yeah, like you
Um,
like
the get like
you're
a
close with it.
base.
It's just yeah, you just drew it a little just a little big,
Yeah.
which you know can be a
It's
stylistic choice, but
yeah, Ghibli sweat.
yeah, very viscous sweat.
Okay. How bad can I be? What do I got in my CSP?
Ooh, it's a
Um,
beautiful song.
let's say hypothetically, ooh, well, fuck it, whatever. Um, they do it. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
your
Well,
little sweat brush.
yeah. Just checking out different sweat brushes. See what we like the look of here, gang. Okay, that one's very light. These are definitely all sweat brushes. So
That's the
shut up.
only thing,
Yeah.
sweat or just a
If
little
it
bit
was
of
something else, it would look different.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like this one the best. But this one's pretty subtle. But yeah, I think in your case, it's mostly just a matter of the size,
Yeah.
but also just depending on the sweat, like it doesn't there's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
So what do I got? Yeah, because I like the way that you've stylized it. You've already got the idea down. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of like,
A little white outline with a little shine mark and then a little bit dark on the inside.
yeah.
It's just a little too big.
I think that's really it.
You just made it a little too big.
Yeah. Another thing to consider is that if you just kind of want them to look like sexy, steamy, like it's also just this. What is any of this? What the fuck is any of this? Huh? Huh?
I
it's
don't know.
summertime.
I
That wasn't directed at anyone.
don't know.
But you're like, I can't help you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're trying, if you're trying to kind of do like summer sexies,
Ooh, yeah.
it could even be as subtle as like a glowiness. Like maybe
Yeah.
it's not like maybe they're not dripping sweat, but
Just a couple of
they
beads and some.
yeah. Could even just be like a little bit of highlighting.
Yeah.
I don't like that jaw highlight. We're not doing that. Zoom in a little. And doing it. Up. I think it's mostly just do it slower, smaller. Um just do a little bit of highlighting rather than like just instead of doing a lot of big drops, do just like a few drops.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think the fun of sweat is more subtlety.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Then maybe add a little bit of glow
Ooh.
with that summery kind of vibe. I don't fucking know. I'm making it up right now.
Yeah, no, I mean this is I'm learning as well. I've got a render I gotta make that I'm getting some
Wow,
ideas for.
you too, huh? Very quickly. But yeah, I think if you should try like something a bit more like subtle, maybe. Just kind of
Yeah.
have you tried looking at like pictures of sweaty men? See where the highlights are.
Yeah,
Yeah, see where the sweat pools, because that's what's gonna be the shiniest.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Because I'm not doing a very good job kind of like examining it, but I think focus just make the beads smaller. There don't have to be a ton of them. Just like put them in the right spots, you know? I'm like, I don't know how to like talk about this without being gross. But I'm just like, it's summer right now. Where are you sweating? That's where the sweat is. That's where it's gonna be wettest.
Yeah.
For me, it's under boob. You should put more sweat under his boobs.
Little sweats.
I'm not even kidding. That's gonna be the wet part.
That's gonna be
But
the wet
yeah.
part, yeah.
But yeah, these are really, really good.
Yeah. Just make them
Just
smaller. Make them smaller
yeah.
and put them in more
Yeah.
intentional places.
Yeah.
You can do it. I believe in you.
It's, subtlety will get you places. But yeah. And look at sweaty, sweaty people. I think that's all I can do for you, friend.
Yeah,
Godspeed on your sweat journey.
I believe. I'm excited.
I believe too. Hope that helped. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next is Pen. There is mild body horror in this one, FYI. If that bothers anyone. Warning for mild body horror. I don't really know if it counts. On both blood on the first one and depictions of medical instruments on the second.
Mm.
The first piece was largely to practice rendering. I'm pretty proud of it, though it's a bit old, so I haven't really looked at it in a bit, so IDK how it holds up, lol. The second is a character sheet in my OC, largely to practice drawing the same person from different angles and having them look the same and practicing a simpler art style. I feel like compositionally it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's not really meant to be a finished piece. So yeah, I was trying to show more personality through the poses and expressions. And although they're pretty withdrawn and timid with a flat effect, I feel like that's kind of how all my drawings turn out. Uh, yeah. Um, yeah. Fantastic rendering,
Yeah,
really, on the first one.
very effective.
Yeah. I think it's very successful.
Reminds me of the second season of True Blood. They're
What
always,
a pull.
you know, if you know, you
I
know.
I don't know is the
Okay.
problem. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly don't have a lot to like add about that one. I think this is like a wonderful like rendering.
Yeah.
Everything about it is very, very good
Real
and
creepy.
is super good.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it does make an interesting like comparison for the one on the right, since this is like you trying to go simpler
Hmm.
um in your style, while and this also just kind of it goes back to like, hey, to like continue developing your style, if you do, if you kind of do like some semi-realism, and that'll also like translate into your stylized stuff, because I think this is some really good character drawing.
Yeah.
You remember what feel compositionally it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's not really meant to be a finished piece. Yeah, it's like a character sheet, yeah? I was trying to show more personality through poses and expressions, and although they're pretty withdrawn and timid with a flat effect, I feel like that's kind of how all my drawings turn out.
Mm. Interesting.
Practicing art style. Sorry, I'm like plotting, scheming.
Yeah, yeah.
I I think you're very successful. In what you've been like working on with this piece. I'm focusing on this piece because I'm like, I don't have a ton to say about this piece. It's really good. Um and uh I do wonder how heavily referenced this one is from, like, whatever you referenced it from. Because I do see a little bit of inconsistencies, like with like but between like the different angles of the character. That's not
Mm.
me saying like, where is this from? That's just me being like, oh no, this one is like so solid.
Hmm.
So it's just an interesting comparison to kind of see you working in a different style.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. But no, I do especially like the way that you've like translated um your rendering style onto this character, and I do like your simpler style. It's still very detailed. I used some photos of the skin to color pick, but didn't really use reference the poses from what I remembered. That fucking rules. Oh my god. Um I assumed that it was like pretty like reference from a photograph because of how detailed the rendering is. The color me impressed. Now I just look stupid. But yeah, because yeah, I'm like, I can tell. I feel like, again, this is not something I'm good at either. So I do feel like there's a little bit of like the facial proportions are shifting around angle to angle, but it's clearly like the same character all around. Got anything, Nathan, while I continue to think?
Um, I guess like the thing that I'm noticing the most is
Uh-huh.
like I think there's something so confident about just like the solid blue background, and like it really makes the subject pop in the left. And like
Um,
I definitely I understand like you've got this sort of purple background and then like this lighter sort of rough like glow you have on the character. Um which like to me it just feels like a little bit unfinished. Like if that makes
Yeah,
it like it's like particularly noticeable around like all of the objects.
that's true.
Um like I'd be interested to see like if you just picked a solid color instead of this like more sort of like sketchy
Yeah,
like brushstrokey background. Like I don't know. I don't know that it's adding and it might be
that's a good thing to point
yeah,
out.
it's like cuz I definitely understand the instinct of like oh it needs something in the background. Let me just like try something, but it's to
Nope.
me to me it feels like it's distracting from
Yeah, I
it's
think
like
I was kind of purposely not really paying attention to that because I'm like, it's not the point. So
it's not the
it's a
point
good
but
thing to consider.
it's something to consider, yeah,
Yeah,
because it's like
especially if you find it like distracting from the point.
yeah, like you want the background to not be detracting from because like because of the way you did it, it's like it leaves me as the viewer being like okay, was that intentional or was that like were they just like trying something because they're like I need something in the background.
Yeah, because
um
especially if it's just like a character sheet to kind of like like especially if it's just kind of like I'm practicing drawing my character and showing their personality, it never needs a background.
yeah, I think just like a
Don't
solid
fall for the
I think
propaganda.
just the
You
solid
never have to
color it's
draw a
already it's like
background.
making the actual subject matter pop more, I feel
Yeah,
like.
that's a good point to make. I honestly wasn't thinking that hard about it. I was kind of just trying to like focus in on the characters, but it's obviously worth pointing out if it's distracting to anyone.
Yeah, not to and like if you again like this is all every note is just something that I'm noticing, but like if you disagree with anything I say as the artist, like
Yeah.
feel free to ignore me.
You should
um
send him a hateful email. You're allowed.
yeah,
No, don't do that.
no, but like already this looks so much more clean and confident to me.
Yeah.
And it lets you focus on the subject matter more.
Yeah. Point, Mr. Nathan.
Thank you.
It's just purposefully sidestepping that, honestly. I was like, yeah, it's a character sheet,
Yeah, but you
but
can
that is a
still
good thing to
yeah,
consider.
like look at that. It's just
Yeah.
it's so much more readable now, I feel like.
Hmm. Yeah. Just focus on the character. And it can be any color that you feel works. But yeah. I do feel like um in terms of just like showcasing the character and like little details about them and personality, I think you were quite successful. Even just showing different outfits is always like such a good way to express like information about the character without them having to like do anything.
Yeah.
um Yeah, I think with the background with flat colors, it felt like a lot of empty space and the character didn't stand out much, but I do think the glowy stuff was a bit too much. I also think I sometimes have trouble telling how much contrast will come across because I've tried to color correct my monitor and IDK how well I did it. Lol. Yeah. Fucking monitors, man. I don't think my Cintiq is properly color corrected either, to be honest. I think it reads yellows in a way I don't like, but
Interesting.
anyway,
Yeah.
when in doubt, like it's a character sheet. You don't need to I am treating this as a character sheet because that kind of sounds like what you were going for. You could also just, assuming all of these drawings are kind of like separate, it's done digitally. You can also just kind of scooch them all closer to each other. You can overlap them and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I think you're just doing like character development, so you can just not think too hard about the technicals. Um if it's not something that you're specifically working on, cuz you mostly seemed um interested in how your character comes across rather than the overall composition of the piece. So I'm like, "Nah, I think you're fine. You're good." Um but yeah. Yeah, because you say it's not meant to really be a finished piece. They just do whatever.
Yeah.
But I do like this as just like a show of the character. I feel like this one on the left is like particularly like expressive
Yeah.
in a subtle way. The posture.
The posture and yeah, just like there's again,
Yeah.
there's a confidence in and this is something that I struggle with my own self, but like it's like I feel like there's this desire to like show as much as possible, but there's something really nice about just like a profile. You don't see that much of the like you're just seeing what you would see from that angle, and it's like yeah, that's how people look, you know? Like it's
Uh,
good. It's really nice. Just
I
like
do
you.
think I do think they have basically the same expression across the whole piece, like slightly frowning and looking off, kind of mad.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, if they're a stoic character, then they're a stoic character. If they're not, then you should get one of those like fucking expression memes where they have like, all the expression like happy, surprised, scared, or get one of those ones that's like weirdly specific.
Cuz yeah, if you zoom
Yeah.
in on the middle one, yeah, they've got like something's happening there. They've got like their eyes are a different color. Like they're getting like there's some sort of power happening with
Yeah.
that one. Like I feel like if that doesn't make them have a different facial expression, then I don't know. You know, like
Yeah.
if that's just how they are, like they're just like, yep, sometimes my eyes
Yeah.
glow like this. Like I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they don't show positive emotions like there's like a subtle smile on that one on the upper right where it's like they look a little bit
Yeah.
more self-satisfied, but it's like I feel like even the most stoic person when pushed far enough will express themselves somehow. So you might
Yeah.
maybe just want to include like one like
Yeah.
like upset like mad or scared
Yeah.
or despondent like something, you know?
Yeah.
If they were put under pressure, how would they react?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Genuinely, if you want to just do like more character development drawings, then do an expression sheet.
Yeah.
It's I as someone who just likes drawing their blorbos, like doing fuck all, like it is just like also like a fun exercise.
Right.
Like this is because it does like how your character expresses themselves is like a really fun way to like explore their look. And yeah, like what do they look like happy, what do they look like mad, what do they look like scared,
And yeah, they don't have to have very strong.
embarrassed, yeah,
Yeah, like
but
if they're just not very emotive, like that's okay, but like you should
mhm,
still
there's
you
still
can
ways
still
to
tell.
express
Yeah,
it, yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah,
that can be a good exercise of like, yeah, how do I express subtle changes in their emotion if they aren't very expressive in their face? Like that's
yeah,
a good artist challenge for you.
yeah. Because when I saw this collection of drawings, I did just kind of assume that they were a stoic character. But yeah, but if that's something you want to develop further, then yeah, do like a full range of emotions. Like just draw how they would express it. So yep. But yeah, hope
It's
that helps.
I freaking love seeing people's original characters, man. It's just like
Yeah.
people are so creative.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me happy.
Hell yeah. I think we're moving on, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Next is Kit Talks.
Ooh, hello.
I attempted an exaggerated from above angle with multiple colored lights, and I think it turned out all right, but can be improved here and there. Her being a shapeshifter put me in a mindset of their body can do whatever, but probably still should have thought about body structure more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, very fun, cute angle. It is not knowing the character and, you're like she's a shapeshifter and the body can do whatever. It is good to keep in mind, okay, but what can the body do? Like what's the proportions?
Mm-hmm.
Because the way this reads to me right now is that she has a really big head. And since I'm not familiar, I have to assume that maybe that's not true. I don't know. Um,
Right.
so let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out.
Because yeah, an exaggerated from above angle. Because yeah, like it's I have to assume that she has like humanoid normal proportions. Because right now it looks almost like chibi, you
Yeah.
know? Um, but yeah, like right now it's
But good on you for pushing yourself to
yeah,
like
this is
try.
not an easy angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, let's watch me fuck it up.
Yeah. See,
Shit.
it'll show you it's not so easy.
Um,
Yeah. And again, like all of this stuff is the sort of thing where it's like the more you practice, the better you'll get at it.
yeah.
And so like great that you're trying it. Keep at it.
Humanoid realistic.
Yeah. Cuz yeah,
Doing
like
this on the spot is bad.
no, you're doing it. You're doing it. But yeah, like the reason why the head seems really big is because you have the hand up. The hand is as close to us as the head is because it's
Mhm.
up. It's literally touching the head,
Yeah.
but the hand is much smaller proportionally than the head is. So it's sort of if what you're going for is like a really dramatic angle, you've got to make sure that that's as everything that's being exaggerated because of how close it is to us needs to still be proportional
Yeah.
to each other.
But that
Yeah, some guidelines.
got this right, but you get the idea.
It's funny. I peeked ahead at the next piece, and it's like similar idea
Yeah.
type stuff, dramatic angles. So yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's cool that people are trying it.
Yeah. I'm trying it.
You're trying it.
And I can't do better than this on the spot.
No, it's fine. Like that's like
And
the
I
yeah
think
the idea
yeah.
is just yeah like you can you can push the pose and the angle while still paying attention to proportion.
Yeah, I think you just
And
got the like proportions, like not it's just
yeah,
it's really difficult to kind of fuck around and explain foreshortening
yeah,
for me. It is a lot of just the head is a circle, the rib cage is a circle,
yeah,
the pelvis is a bowl, and then you just kind of rotate them in space.
yeah. You gotta zotate.
Yeah, you gotta fucking zotate that shit. It sucks.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like you can make each of those the right size compared to each other, but then it's still like the angles of everything changes, and like the yeah, like expressing the foreshortening, it's tricky. It's tricky to do.
Yeah. But yeah, because I think right now it's just that the head is like way, way, way close
Yeah.
compared to literally everything else, even though the hand is right there. Because a hand's pretty big.
Yeah.
I have small hands, still pretty big.
I can do I can do it. I can show you. If I
Ah,
lean towards the I do it. I have my hand up like this. Yeah, it's still, you know,
yeah,
larger by comparison. But maybe she's got real small hands. Although they don't look
yeah,
that small compared to the little turntable.
yeah.
Unless
Because
it's a
I
really
also just think like the heads it's pointed out. It's tall and not foreshortened.
yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of like really getting a grasp on all of the like proportions,
Yeah.
etc.
It'll come with
But
practice.
that comes with practice. I will say about the lighting, because I think it turned out all right, but it can be improved here and there. I agree. This is very ambitious.
Yeah.
Um, I do think lighting's always whack. Fucking hell, man. Um, I think the lighting could just be pushed. That's my other
Yeah.
addition,
Got this
basically.
laser light show thing happening.
Yeah, it's
You're in the club, so you've got it's like a darker
be in the
room with some
club.
more
Yeah, it's
exaggerated
when you
lighting.
when you go through the trouble of like doing something, especially that's like technically difficult, like a really crazy angle, it is like kind of annoying to have to then like muddy it up by like adding lighting, but it'll really doing where am I? Save this. What the fuck is happening? I'm gonna do this. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
The wrong brush.
It's just the wrong girl.
You
It's
chose the wrong brush.
yeah. Contrast. Ooh yeah. I can hear Sandstorm playing.
Yeah.
Such a millennial reference.
We know,
My
Nathan, you're a
gosh. Yep,
millennial.
yep. I'll never let anyone forget.
We know. But yeah, it's just the lighting can always be pushed. Because I think as you had it, it just didn't look. It looked like she was in a well lit room, which is fine.
She could be.
Yeah, but if that wasn't your intention, then you can always push it further. Maybe add some skin glow.
Ooh.
That's too
Ooh.
fucking no.
And just for anyone who's curious, what layer effects are you using right now to do
To
this?
do just the shadows is a multiply layer,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is a glow layer.
Okay. Yeah.
This looks bad. This is a bad job,
I
but
don't
you
think
get I'm
so.
just trying to demo
I
ideas.
think it's good. I think it's good
But
actually.
yeah, really nightcore that shit up, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you can it's just Just all push and pull, you know? Just
Yeah.
trying stuff, seeing what works.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
also just the old classic, the Karina classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, this is a very bright one, and so this just adds a little extra depth to it. You can push it further.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Me and the club bumping the Christmas shoes Nightcore version.
Yeah, this is such an ambitious. It's really cool that you tried this and,
Yeah.
keep at it.
Yeah, so
Practice those proportions, practice that anatomy and, push the lighting.
yeah, you got this, but this was very powerful of you to try. So good
Yeah.
work.
Hell yeah.
We'll move on. Sorry. Woohoo! Thank you. Next is so Eepy.
Opposite angle.
Yeah. Hello. This is the piece I'll be submitting for this month's critique class. Wanted to try my hand at doing an extreme pose angle with this one because I was also working on Art Fight at the same time as this piece. The drawing itself is really rough and loose, and I just want to get the vibe down. And I'm quite intimidated to get to rendering. I also want to include the flash photography look you get. I also want to include that flash photography look you get when you take a photo with a disposable camera. But again, I was also working on other pieces and intimidated by the thought of rendering this to completion. But step by step, we make our way over. In before I forget, I want to point out that I feel like Hank Blue Furred Man doesn't look beastly enough, doesn't look muscular strong. Would really love some help in that regard, especially with the unique angle.
Nice.
Hello.
You've come to the right place.
I will say, just off the bat, off the cuff, if you're going for flash photography, the background has to be dark.
Yep.
Because that's just how a camera will throw light.
Yep.
So that'll already that's just first things first.
And if it's a photo of me, my eyes will be red.
Yeah. I don't know if that was just like something you were gonna do or anything,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
by the way, I don't fully know how to do like the flash photography look, but it is very flat and high contrast is the main thing.
Yep.
So that's a good place to start. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Make him musclier, get the angle.
Yeah,
Stuff.
again, this is just a combination, like it's foreshortening. It's a combination of just kind of already knowing what it's supposed to look like breaking down like the I lost my sentence. Breaking down the shapes and the structure of the body. So, you wanna draw someone who's beastly, muscular, strong. So you just
Is this Beast and Mystique?
yeah.
Yeah. X-Men. Wow, we got two shapeshifters at extreme angles back to back.
Okay, so this is your usual little arena base, and then you just want to kind of rotate it, so it'll be like, yeah, just say throw back on that a little,
Oh yeah.
something like that, something like that.
So good.
And then you just rotate it.
Yeah. Let's move all the shapes.
Yeah, that's fine. They're Thursday.
It's Thursday. You know, thanks for being patrons. This is what you get for, you know. This is the hack. If you want Karina to draw a muscly guy at a low angle, but you don't want to get the Drawficionados, just sign up for DrawClass and
You
submit
trick me into doing
submit
it.
a drawing
It's not
of
that
a
hard.
muscle guy at a low angle and say, I didn't quite get the muscles. Show me.
God damn it. Yeah, it is just a lot of like, no, just know how practice anatomy, learn your fundamentals, and then rotate it.
Yeah. Again, watch one of the several Karina teaches dramatic anatomy draw classes that we've already done. You do it. You show it. You have some practices that you can practice on, some practice poses.
Throw it back. Throw it back. I don't know. But yeah, because even with the ref,
Yeah,
so the
give a
face is kind of like
little red. Yeah, like
weird.
he's leaning forward with his like he's like
Yeah,
tilting his
you
head
can
down, but
you
everything
can follow
else
the
is
lines of the clothing to see like the
yeah.
structure of the body.
Yeah. Exactly.
See? That kind of shit. Make strong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
um, but yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as I feel like I say this in like anatomy course like classes I've done too, where it's like if you can break it down to its shape, you can also just like change the body type,
Right.
whatever.
Just
Because if you know what the shape is, then you just kind of either put fat or muscle on top of it,
move
and
the
that'll change the
slider
body.
in your
But as
mind.
long as you know the inside, aka skull, rib cage, pelvis, you can just kind of put whatever the fuck you want on top of it.
Bone game.
But yeah. Um lot of rendering. But yeah, so that's the second point. But yeah. I think you got because since you were following like a pose, I think you kind of got the pose down pretty well.
Yeah.
I would just say that for rendering, it really is just like for flash photography, it is just a lot of like
Yeah, you know where your light
kind of
source is. It's the
yeah.
flash. Different
Oh,
comic.
you. It is literally just
Yeah, just any surface that isn't blocked is getting hit by that bright light from the flash, and that's
right.
going to wash out everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Flash photography is kind of a tricky one because it is like nice and washed out, but it does look really cool when you get it.
Yeah.
Like shitty job, but yeah, I will just also add that in terms of like I think you can just practice like doing more like detailed anatomy studies because I'm like
Yeah.
if you want to like have a character that looks muscular, then you'll Like, oh, do a little study.
Learn about what the muscles do.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Ooh, a little
Yeah.
glow. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not the best. Not the best, but
You get the idea.
yeah. The flash photography shit is always like weirdly washed out.
Yeah.
So
And you're gonna
just
get, if their eyes aren't red, they're at least gonna be like very reflective of the flash because it's like the most reflective surface typically in the
yeah.
image.
Yeah.
Big
Something
pool
like
of
that.
water in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, with like a flash photography style of rendering, like the the shadows are very stark but not very big.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Honestly, kind of makes me want to try doing something like that, but we'll get to it.
Ooh. Yeah.
One of those things that I'm like, oh, I like this, and then I never do it. But yeah. So I would say that most of it's pretty bright and washed out, except stuff like, you know,
Anything that's
you can
getting
see it
blocked. Yeah.
on the ref too, where
Right.
the hand is very bright, but the arm that's in behind it is not nearly as
Yeah.
bright. Well, yeah. I hope that helps. Yeah. I think we're gonna move on. Ignore that.
Yeah.
Ignore this. But yeah. E.
I think
Thank you.
that was great.
Oh. Okay. Next is Fitz.
Wow.
Number one chatter in
No.
YouTube chat leaderboard. Hi, these are my pieces for this month's critique. The first one is a comic page I made for practice. It's not necessarily self contained or where the story would start, just a random point in the hypothetical first chapter. I wanted to ask if it looks finished enough or if there's anything I should do to improve the polish of it because I didn't do line art. The background's a solid color and the characters are minimally shaded. Um, any other feedback is welcome too. The second piece is a VTuber model I've been working on for myself. The theming is essentially just the constellation Leo, so like stars and ancient Greece inspired sort of vibes. I haven't finished the rendering on it yet, but I'm wondering if the design and balance of the proportions look okay. Not going for realism, but I don't want to look unintentionally off. Areas I'm concerned about are the face, hips, legs, and arms. General feedback is welcome also. Your art's so cool.
Yeah. This is
I remember your stuff from last time too. It was really good. But like
love the way your character in the comic has their like hair styled so it looks like cat ears.
oh
That's such
yeah.
a cool
Cute.
detail.
Um let me do an annoying check for that I'm annoying about.
You gotta. That's part
Yeah.
of it. Eventually people will start doing that before they submit.
Some people already do.
Yeah.
I notice. I can tell.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, because I want to do that for the comic specifically because sorry, I keep turning it on and off. Because yeah, less so for the VTuber model because that's like a different thing. So I'm not gonna consider that strongly for now. Um, but yeah. Because I think the comic's really nice. I like the rendering style you have for the characters. I think it's like the exact right amount.
Yeah.
Um, the reason I was like flipping the doodad on and off was mostly for like the background as well as the like panel outlines and the text. To be clear. Um, as I see see. You're very clever. Because, yeah, everything reads really well, like the outlines and everything read well value wise. It's just very saturated.
Mm.
Um I think the main thing is just the solid background colors for everything, cuz like this is kind of what I mean when I'm like, "Oh, not every like comic panel needs to have like backgrounds," cuz that's not necessarily the point most of the time. So, I think you like got a really nice balance of like doing this sort of like sketched in background. Um so good. Um I think even here it's a little like bit unnecessary because you have like this little like eto kind of effect going on in the background. So where it overlaps, it doesn't read badly to me personally, but I'm like, I would just eliminate it completely because it doesn't really add anything either. At least like this one up here, I feel like that's a little cluttered. The ones where it runs into the like lines effect, I think could, it clutters it up a teeny tiny bit.
Mm.
I actually used a CSV model for the background to save time. I was like trying to tell honestly because I'm just like this looks like a filtered like model, but you did it successfully.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I was trying to be like, oh, I can tell by the artifacting that this might have just been like a model,
Hmm.
but again, it doesn't matter. That's aside the point. I think it's mostly just that the line art is there. How do I put this? Um, how do I put this? It's a combination of the colored like background and gutters with like the solid color background. I'm like, it's not distracting, but it flattens it out a little bit, you know? That makes sense.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think there could be a little bit more contrast between like the background and the characters in the scenes with the uh oh. I think if you're gonna have the gutters be this purple, because I do like this purple and I like that it's not white because then it stands out from the speech bubbles to just add a little bit more depth to the like bar background.
Mm.
That makes sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Because I like the simplicity of it, but it still feels a wee bit flat for how much information is also there.
Sure.
I think even doing like a little bit of simple shade, like simple coloring or something to kind of like uh differentiate the different stuff in the background would help. But yeah, because I'm like I like the stylization. And I'm a big proponent of not doing too much fucking work on any given comic.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now it's like it reads as a little bit flat. That's why I keep turning the fucking color layer on and off.
Yeah.
But it's really just these two panels specifically. Um because they are like in a setting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
especially because like that top left panel, there's like just enough headroom that it feels like there should be like some detailing or something back
yeah.
there. Like you could
Okay.
either scooch everything up slightly, that might help, or just like zoom in slightly,
Yeah.
or just like add a little bit more shading or something in the background. Because I agree. I like the minimalist
Yeah.
uh style, but just because you've left that like space open, it just like,
That's a good way of
you know?
yeah, because I think it's mostly this one where I'm like, it feels flat, but this one doesn't stand out nearly as much to me. So that's a good way, good observation.
I also just have
Uh,
like the tiniest of nitpicks about just like
sorry.
the tails of the word bubbles.
Hmm. The thickness.
Just like they all like the one that's like going into her armpit in the in like that first
Oh
panel,
yeah.
like just like a little bit of like I think you could, because it's clear like the direction shows where it's coming from. I think you could just make it shorter so it's
Yeah,
not
or just scooch
tangenting,
it like over this
or
way.
scooch it a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a nitpick, but it's just like
It's
because
worth pointing
because it's
out.
so good. It's like it's really competent. It's like they're just these little things where it like,
Yeah, this one too. It's a little cluttered.
and then it's not even like a full tangent, but like the one at the bottom, there's like an implied tangent where if you go down to the last one where um like if you continue the line, it's like just right at the same angle as the
Yeah.
shoulder. Like if you just changed it slightly,
Yeah.
you it would just be a little bit more
Yeah.
aesthetic. I don't know. It's like these are very small.
That's auto tail and it didn't work well. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I think that's just the thickness of the
Yeah.
bubble with the auto tail. Like I also don't like when it does that, which is why I kind of tend to draw my own tails and shit. Cause yeah, when it has that sharp point with a thick outline, it just makes this really long, like bleh. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's a nitpick,
It's just
but
a
a
nitpick.
good a one worth pointing out.
Just figured, you know. But yeah, this is
And
again, the
yeah,
characters are so
fits
charming
yeah.
and I
Yeah,
want to
like
know
all of
more.
this is to say that like you were in the last critique as well, and I know that you're like very proficient with your style and your color usage. So I'm just like I'm kind of just rattling off like ideas because
Yeah.
I know you'd know what to do.
I want to give you
And
your money's worth.
Fitz like sent this as an example of like
Ooh.
another background that they did using a model and then did a little bit of coloring on.
I like the colors.
Yeah, I agree. Even something like kind of relatively simple. This isn't that simple, but yeah, just to differentiate the different things in the background, I think would like make a difference, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Just
Looks
like
so
just like
good.
a little pop of something back there, you know? I think you could,
Yeah.
doesn't need to be too much, but yeah, I think that would it would go a long
Yeah.
way.
As for your model design, I think it looks so good.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's I always feel I'm like it's really difficult to judge because if it's meant to be a VTuber model, like it's always going to look different in motion.
Right.
Um and that's kind of where it's really going to like shine or sink.
Mhm.
I feel like the design is good. I think this is so good. What did you say? What did you go away? I haven't finished rendering on it, but I'm wondering the design and balance of the proportion looks okay. I think the design is really well balanced. Like this is a really good design. Not too much. Some VTubers tend to be. I feel like the legs are long,
Oh,
but
I'm
that could
blurry
be
again.
stylistic. Nathan, this ain't about
I know,
you.
I'm sorry. Just ignore me. Ignore me. I'm just gonna be blurry.
Yeah. Do you agree
That is good.
that it's good, but do you think the legs are long?
The legs are long. I think you what I was gonna suggest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know why my camera's doing this. Come on.
It's okay.
What I was gonna suggest is because like you can. I think you could get away with long legs if you make the arms long too. Then it's just
Mm,
like the limbs are long. But
yeah.
because the arms are in proportion to uh It's yeah, it's just like they sort of seem like a long character. Like they just like
Yeah.
the legs are very long. The torso's pretty long. I think if you just lengthen the arms a little bit, it would make it all seem like they're just sort of a long character, but because of the way they are now, it like it either feels like the arms are too short or the legs are too long. But that like I don't know how much of the character is going to be visible on screen as a VTuber.
Yeah.
Like if it's just going
That
to
that's the
be
other reason I'm like
yeah, if it's just going to be from like the waist up anyway, then like it's not a huge deal. But since
yeah.
since you included the legs, uh
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, because I'm just like I kind of assume that like generally it's not a huge deal if the legs are long. I can also envision in my mind that they'd be a little bouncy because of the nature of VTuber
yeah.
models. So I'm
Yeah, I
just
can,
like,
I'm imagining this character bouncing a little. That's just trying to yeah.
yeah.
But it
But
it's such
I
a
love
it's
the
such a it's a
design. I
really
think it's
nice
a really good
design.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like I guess just proportionally like the legs are long. If you did that on purpose, that's fine. That's not my business.
Yeah. There's like an uncanny nature to it, which might be like what you're going for is like a celestial sort of
Yeah.
being. So,
Yeah. But if that's not what you're going for, then we're just pointing it out.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the design's really good. I'm not like a huge VTuber person, but it is very I feel like you see a lot of designs that are like a lot, but I think this is a really nice, like well conceptualized and well balanced one.
Where would you shorten the legs to if you were going to shorten them?
Um Everything sucks.
No, you're doing it. Yeah, it's really just like the bottom. Or I guess it's just like the angle of the feet, maybe. I don't know. Because like the feet are sort of pointing down. But yeah, you just shorten that bit a little bit, and
Following the
then
same
the fact that
curves.
the feet are sort of pointing down also adds to the longness. Yeah, they're not even that long. They're
Yeah.
just a little long.
Like it reads as a stylistic choice, but this is still like a little longer on my measurements, but this is the heel. That's like yeah, and then this one like the foot's kind of hanging down. So
Yeah, and it's nice.
yeah, so
I like it.
that's where that's my instinct.
I'm a fan of long character.
Yeah, again, I'm just like that's just like my instinct talking of just like the legs are long, but you know, if you want them to be long, then they're long. That's all.
Yeah, they're allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels very clamp. Yes, but yeah, that's kind of where I place them. That
Cool,
makes sense.
nice.
It's a not a subtle change, but it's like not by a ton, but enough that yeah, I think that's the slight difference that you'll see. Still a little long in the angles, but yeah, then you're just getting into like nickel and diming.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I like it.
not sure if I should redo anything else about the model. I think it's good. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's such a cool like. I love the I love how symmetrical it is so that like the asymmetrical bits really stand out.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really nice I think it's a really nice amount of details.
But yeah, I think this
Um
is good.
and I mean it reads like even if you didn't tell me it's based on like the constellation Leo, it's like you get the celestial like the star space aspects of it, you get the cat aspect of it like it's conveying it's conveying, you know?
Does the face look appealing? Yes.
Yeah.
all your art looks very
You're
appealing.
very good at making
Yeah.
charming and
And
appealing
again,
faces and
that's also just something that's hard to judge for something that's intended to be
right.
like expressive and moving. So as it is, I think it's really good.
I'm
The
im-
only thing that like stood out to me were the legs.
I'm imagining that face making the facial expressions of all the characters in the comic, and it's working for me.
Yeah. This is all really good. It's
Yeah.
always a joy to see your work. So thank you for
Yeah.
attending again and submitting.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more and then we can go.
All right.
We're not going to go too
Ooh,
long.
moody.
This person submitted so this is Linklean. And they submitted 6 pages, and I'm going to be very gracious and count it as these are your 2 pieces because
Okay.
it's one piece, I guess. But it
One
is another
Piece.
comic.
Oh, a different comic.
No. So I'm still drawing the comic that Nathan and Jacob kindly critiqued a while back. I'm at 55 pages and counting now. Woo! Since Nathan and Jacob's feedback really helped me, I'm back for more. My
Nice.
question concerns pacing, and I am not fully sure how to do that without sharing a couple pages at once, so I really hope that's okay. Um, I don't need detailed feedback on all of them, obviously. My question is if the pacing is okay here or if it reads as too hectic. Context: the main character is about to graduate high school. His lack of after graduation plans is not the only thing haunting him. A strange mummy like creature keeps following him around. To investigate, he heads to where he first met the creature in the fields next to his house. Since the comic was birthed from manga drawing challenge I set for myself, it is read from right to left, so I put them in the wrong order.
Oh,
Oops. 1, 2, 3, but
okay.
right to left. Um,
Yeah.
I I think the pacing is solid. I'm gonna say that and then think some more. Do you have anything?
I like it a lot.
I I'm I'm interested that you thought it was too hectic. I I don't know. I feel like I talked about this a little bit when I did a draw class on comics,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, your everyone has like their eye for like how you do paneling.
Mm-hmm.
And because I personally have like an animation background, so I do kind of see the panels as like the camera, the size reflects the length of a shot, you know.
Yeah.
It's a that's how I tend to view it. Uh Still sorry if this was a stupid way to submit it. No, it's technically one piece. I'm just like I don't know. But so the way that I personally read it, especially because there's no dialogue, I actually feel like the pacing here is very slow. And not in like a bad way per se, in like a horror kind of way, like it's foreboding.
Yeah.
Um
Atmospheric.
Atmospheric because there's no dialogue, so there's no speech bubbles, so it's just these kind of big panels because you're only putting like what is this like 3 yeah, 2 or 3, and this page is even one big panel. Like, that's very little. Um, so it does kind of have just, like for me personally, it reads quite slow. How about you, Nathan?
Yeah, I think it feels very like I said, atmospheric, patient. Like
Yeah,
it's a nice slow build. And I like the
'cause
the back and forth between the wide shots, like the shot reverse shot of
yeah,
like,
good variation
and
of
then yeah, like
shots.
the step, close up on the step, close up on the face, and then
Yeah,
when the action hits, it's like effective because you let it build.
yeah. I guess to kind of elaborate a little bit on my philosophy, just so it's like not confusing if it is. Because you don't have a lot of panels on each page, you you know, a page turn is part of a comic. Like that's part of how the reader is experiencing it.
Hmm.
So, when your eyes go to the next page. So the fact that there's only like two or three panels on each page, like you can spend more time lingering on it. There's no words that are guiding you through the panels, so you can kind of just like take each one in. So
Yeah.
that's why I read it as quite slow, because I just have these like really like um big images that I can kind of like examine the details of without being rushed through it. Like, you know, off the top of my head, like Watchmen has a lot of panels per page. It's like 9 or 12, I don't fucking remember. Um
I have it
so
right here.
you're just constantly like moving through them because you're reading through them.
Right.
Whereas this one you're kind of it's you know, you have more time to kind of ruminate on each panel at your own pace. So that's what I mean when I say like the pacing is slow, which is a good thing if you're trying to like do something that's more atmospheric and kind of horror adjacent. Uh, ah,
And I like because if you had them in the right to left way, you would have that like the white border and then that transitional one where it's like going from white to black and
yeah,
then it like that that's a cool
yeah.
effect as
And
well.
for Gordon, put them in the wrong
No, no,
order,
I
but
mean, but
yes.
that's a
No, that's a
cool
good way of viewing it.
that's a
I didn't think
cool
about that,
effect to like as it's getting scarier, the
but
border's getting
yeah.
darker as well.
I think in terms of the pacing, like if that's what you're going for, then you've got it. It doesn't read to me as hectic as at all.
No,
Like
no,
hectic would be a lot of
it
panels.
feels very patient. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very uh like atmospheric. The only nitpick I have is these two panels are redundant.
Mm.
I don't think there's enough information between these two to justify a second panel, in my opinion. Just speaking as someone who loves doing too many panels that are just subtly different because I have stupid animator brain, and I'm like, it needs to like, I need to express this subtle change in motion, this subtle like his eyes half blink. I need another panel to show that because it's really important. But for this one, to me, it doesn't read as enough of a difference.
Border
Um
transition was something you adapted from my last feed. Oh no, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to compliment myself, but
ah,
I do well, I do like it.
ah.
I
Well, you
noticed
did a
it.
good
I
job.
noticed it and I liked it. So good job past me for giving you a note to do something that I would like to
but
see.
but yeah, so
That's
I
awesome.
if I may continue.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
But yeah, I just don't think this needs to be two panels,
Oh, yeah.
because you can economize it and just make it one, or just have a different panel. Maybe in this panel something is starting to show in this mirror, because it right now it's just the same as in the other one. So maybe there's some indication that something's gonna like happen,
Yeah.
because it is nice that it's kind of very sudden in this one, but this isn't, in my opinion, an effective way of leading into it. So that's my the
Yeah. I think that's a fair note.
for these two panels. I was going for a zoom in, like something creeping up on him. Um, I understand that, but I don't think it makes a huge difference in this case. Is all.
Maybe if the
If
first
there was
one
more of a
was yeah, if the
difference,
first one was further zoomed out and the second one was more zoomed in, maybe.
yeah, because I think it goes from like, this is like a mirror or window or something. And then in this panel, it still looks the same. And then in this panel is when stuff happens and like
Yeah.
So I like, it's one of those like freaking Junji Ito page turn moments where it's like everything's kind of still and then you turn the page and it's like ah. So I think in this case it's like either it's one panel or it's this is more apparent in the second panel.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a nitpick. That's a nitpick,
Yeah,
but
you're asking
it's
for.
yeah. Because
You're,
I
that's
think I
that's
think
what you're
in terms
doing.
of the pacing, like that's it's very successful if you're going for something more spooky ooky. But as someone who's had to like trim a lot of panels from her own comics, I'm like, this one either do more with it or it's redundant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going for a zoom in effect, really push it.
Uh, anything else?
I really like the effect of the shadow hand disintegrating in that,
Yeah, good use
like
of hatching.
on his face. Yeah, it's really neat.
But yeah, because if
I'm
you have
I'm
nothing
I'm
else.
interested to find out what the heck is haunting this boy. This boy can't catch a break on any of our
Goddamn.
any of our draw class critiques. He's
Yeah.
just
In like
getting
in like 2 or 3
tormented.
years, we'll get the critique where he's fine.
Yeah, where he defeats it or something.
Ah,
Or maybe he'll just
because
get consumed by it. Who knows?
if that's it, then we are
All
done.
right, only 1 hour over. Not bad.
Not the
Not the
worst.
worst. Thank you all so much
It's
for
fucking
submitting.
crit.
Yeah, we did it. A critical stream. Yeah, it's I say this every time, but it really is, I think, really special that
Yeah.
that y'all share your art and are open to feedback, and everybody watching gets to learn because you were willing to do that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a generous
Yeah.
and brave thing that you do. But and thank you, Karina, for leading it.
Thank you, Nathan, for assisting and saying a lot of good things too.
And only becoming blurry a couple times.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you all so much for your support on Patreon. If you're watching the VOD in the future, thanks for tuning in. We do a different topic for DrawClass every month. You can always, we always announce it towards the beginning of the month. We usually mention it on our Twitch streams as well as in the Patreon Discord, and you can always bump up your tier if it's something you want to participate in live for any given month. We appreciate it, and we love to have people in chat asking questions and learning together.
Woohoo!
Excited to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Feel free to put any updates in the DrawClass
Yeah,
chat.
please do. Love to see people's art journeys.
Yes.
Yes.
But until next time.
We're sorry.
Sorry.
Bye-bye.
Bye.